When you're conscious, you have something. When you're conscious, something exists for you. When you're conscious, something is present or presented. I also have the idea, which isn't common amongst philosophers and scientists these days, but used to be common and has the recommendation of being true, that it's useful to divide up consciousness into consciousness in perception, consciousness in seeing, for example, and consciousness just in thinking about some distant thing, and consciousness in various kinds of wanting. So with respect to the consciousness of perception, what it is that is actual is a subjective physical world, to give it a description, and its being actual is its being a subjective physical world. If you now turn to the consciousness that is thinking, here we have another case of subjective physicality. Thinking, it seems to me, does consist in representations or signs, words, things that are like words or related to words or to images out in the world. And they again involve us giving answers to the question of what is actual, and the answer there is a representation or representations. And what it is for it to be actual is for it to be subjectively physical. And one can give a very full and I hope persuasive answer to the question of what that different subjective physicality consists in. It's a dependence on you neurally, a dependence on you objectively, physically, and it involves a big subjectivity or indeed an individuality in my view. There are lots of philosophers and scientists who think that for you to be conscious is for there to be an objective physical state in your brain of the same sort as the state of the chair you're sitting on, but a little more complicated. And there are other philosophers who think that what it is for you to be conscious is for a non-physical state to be true of you somehow, maybe a spiritual state. And oddly enough, there are still philosophers who believe the second thing, including some neuroscientists. Well, there is no agreement whatever about what your consciousness really consists in. Philosophers and neuroscientists all disagree. The problem of what it is to be conscious, what it is for you to be conscious, seems to me to have not been taken forward because people don't know what question they're asking. They're in fact disagreeing about more than one question, which isn't actually disagreement. You need to have a subject adequately initially clarified before you go on to ask what that stuff or thing is, what its nature is. You need a clarification. You need a clarification of consciousness before you go on to ask what it consists in.